Johnny, what are you wearing? Your nipples are showing.
Babe, it's Vivian Westwood.
Oh, who's that? Is that your grandma?
No, that's mother.
Oh, it's your mommy. Cute.
Is she Mexican too? Or
Oh, is she Mexican?
No, babe, I'm Salvadoran.
oh yeah, that's right. Get in here. My name is Curly,
And I'm Maya.
and welcome to
The Super Secret Bestie Club podcast. A super secret club where we talk about super secret things.
Yeah, like secrets that are super.
That's what it is.
In each episode, we'll talk about love, friendship, heartbreaks, men, and of course, our favorite secrets. Get in here! Okay, cute.
Well, welcome to the Super Secret Bestie Club podcast, everyone.
Finally.
We have a special guest, a fashion icon, guru, collector, person, lover.
Yeah, the truly iconic Johnny Valencia of Pechuga Vintage. I fucking love you so much. I talk about you all the time to anybody who will listen to the good word of Pechuga, in my opinion. I'm like one of the disciples, if you will.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm always like, Johnny is a brown queer human that lives in K-Town in LA who started their high fashion business out of a box in their studio apartment.
Wow.
And now he's one of the most highly sought after high fashion archivists in the world, with the likes of Beyonce, the Kardashians, Cardi B, Madonna, literally in your DMs asking you for stuff. There's some stars that we can't even talk about because of NDA stuff.
You can talk about me, though. Wow.
And here you are. And part of what I really love about you is that you represent so many different things in terms of like, even down to like your name, Pechuga, like you represent kind of like bringing people of color to the forefront of high fashion, because it's not something that's necessarily on a lot of our minds outside of maybe a cool little Kim track, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, in our minds outside of a track. And then also too, like your message of inclusivity goes far beyond certain like racial identity. It also goes into gender identity, and your whole team is women of trans experience that you so lovingly refer to as the dolls.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like everything that you represent is cutting edge and new and fun. So we're so excited to have you here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, I want to know, like, how'd you get started, like, at a young age? Like, did you always know that you wanted to work in fashion or creation?
I don't, it's interesting because I don't think that fashion was something that was on the radar, right? I grew up in Koreatown from El Salvador. We weren't the demographic for these items. But now that I'm working backwards, because I've been doing a lot of like internal work, and we can talk about mental health later.
Yeah.
Definitely, I made art my higher power as a kid. And I made books my higher power as a kid. And there was always a world that I referred to as a form of escapism. And it was just me constantly creating this world that, comprised of insects, animals.
Because that's what you studied first, right?
Yeah,
your first business was butterflies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. I'll never forget the first butterfly I ever found. And that like sparked this interest of the when, what, why, and where of this specific specimen. And then I apply that now to what I do, because in essence, we're all working backwards. It's like, I remember in this one interview, I was in Paris, I think it was in 2022. And it was this really prominent publication. I think it was, what was it? It's the Sunday Times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was being featured in the style section, and the reporter, the journalist, she asks me, she's like, she's asking me the usual questions on like how I got started, what I think is next in fashion. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, we are no different than what astrophysicists are trying to do, right? Mm-hmm. It's like we're all trying to find the meaning of life, right? And where we come from and why we're here. And if we look at the inception of this universe, we're not reinventing the wheel, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think taking all of that into account, it makes what I do very human, you know. I love that you both specified that in the intro.
Oh yeah, human.
He is a human.
By the way, this is how me and him talk to each other on the sofa. I'm literally like, "How was your day today?" And then we'll go into like atoms and how everything
I have
works.
so
and
many
backwards
questions
and the universe.
too, because to spot a butterfly first, to have that be like the catalyst of everything is very spiritual.
Oh,
like
I love that.
That is so. It gave me chills because
so
I'm
beautiful.
like, that's literally Mother Nature and the universe and
Yeah.
God speaking to you from one of its creations, being like, here. Go show off this purse on the Super Secret Bestie Club podcast.
Yeah,
Can we talk
yeah.
about this purse also?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Can
my
we mention
bag?
this first?
Yeah.
I said it was like the down payment of a house.
It's not a purse, it's a Birkin.
Oh, sorry.
It's actually a
Birkin. Sorry.
I love that.
God's gonna strike me down.
John Galliano comes out and just slaps across the face. All the
sorry.
fashion gods.
It's, you know, a lot of the things that, so, you know, the butterfly is very interesting because like my hunt and my research, it did start with that one specific, you know, creation. And then that's how I've kind of alluded it to what I look for with pieces. I'm like, I'll go to the ends of the world to find it, you know, and
Wait, tell him, I'm sorry, tell him about this bag really fast.
So so I don't easily get influenced by people or like stylish people really. Because I want to keep my own like vision to self and you know, like do the research and see outside. But there's this bag that Mary Kate has, that blue box leather
Olsen.
Kelly. Yes. Yeah. Is there any other Mary Kate?
No, I knew exactly what he said as soon as he said it.
That's makeup though,
Mary
right?
Kate. Yeah, Mary Kate is like, yeah.
But no,
what
I
grew
knew.
up with.
Oh, okay.
I knew.
Mary Kate.
Uh-huh.
I think it was like in the like early 2000s. Yeah, I remember just like middle 2000s. She was carrying this like navy box leather Kelly, and it was beaten beyond like repair.
Really bad.
And I was like, wait, like I want that. So
everybody talked about this bag.
Yes.
Everybody was like, oh my God. Like it was just kind of like, because it's so expensive, and the fact that it was so beaten up and treated like she'd burnt it with cigarettes or some shit, or just dragged it around town. We were like, that's luxury bag.
She did not give a shit about
fashion.
the bag.
Yeah, that's fashion. I'm sorry.
So this box leather Kelly in oxblood, it came up at auction a couple of years ago, and the minute I saw it, I was like, I have to have it. So it's from 1979. I believe the size is 32. And it came in a way better condition than what you see it right now. Like it was near pristine. And my business partner, one of my business partners, she works directly with a person that used to do all of the repairs at Hermes. And I presented to her the bag. I was like, I'm like, can you fix it? I'm like, you know, it's from the 70s. I'm like, maybe you can do, you know. Mm-hmm. But then she came back at me with the quote that was like a quarter of what I'd paid for the bag. Uh-huh. So I was like, you know what? No, I don't think it's worth it. So I wrapped this like, oh, and the reason why it has this Westwood scarf on it is because the handles are coming apart.
It looks cute. I'm like, wow, so fashion.
I'm like, so funny about this bag too is that like literally a week after he bought it, we went to go get like Korean barbecue. And I was like reaching for something and I dropped it and spilled all over.
And then he sat on it.
I have a question too.
And then I was trying to scoot out and I like sat on this bag and he's like,
oh God.
You know what's so funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I can talk about this because Dana Paola, the Mexican singer, she
played Alphaba in Wicked.
Yeah,
also.
yeah,
oh, amazing.
Yo no sabía quién era. I mean, porque nunca habíamos trabajado. You know, we hadn't worked together yet. And I don't watch TV. I don't have a television. And so all these shows, I'm like, okay, I'm completely out of it. But her stylist he was doing this shoot with Rolling Stone in Espanol. Mm-hmm. And he like texts me like urgently. This is, I think, like the second or third time that we worked on something. And this was a huge thing for them. So, because she was going to be on the cover. I think it was like the inaugural like Rolling Stone in Espanol in print. And so she comes over, right? And then she's like looking around my studio and she's just like picking at random things. She's like, I want to buy this and that. I'm just like, yes. you know? And then she sees the bag on one of my chicken. I have a little table that has like chicken feet. Because everything, you know, pechuga. And she's like, I want this. And I'm like,
anything but that.
I was like, it's not for sale. Mind you, could have sold it and it could have paid like my next 3 months worth of rent.
I'm so dead.
But I was like, no, there are things that I need to keep.
And it's kind of like nice to say no to a celebrity.
Oh my God.
I'd be like, no, you can't. You can't afford it.
He said no to a princess one time who like threatened to, what did she like threatened to buy something. She's like, if you don't get me this, I'm going to buy some. What did she ended up buying more shit. She was so mad at you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
A princess.
Yeah. She like, because one of the dresses that, this like beautiful Dior gown, I think it was like during the pandemic, I received it from a client and no, it was La Roche's. It was La Roche's gown. He gave it to me to sell and I posted it, you know, didn't think much of it. She contacted me. She was like this like Saudi princess and she was like, I want to buy that. And I was like, here's the link. I'm very fair. Yeah. I'm like, if you want it, anyone can, please, here it is, free for, you know, it's like, it's a equal for everybody.
First come, first serve.
Yes. And the next day, someone bought it. Someone randomly purchased it on my website and it was for her wedding. Yeah. So the princess comes back to me. She's like, where's the dress? And I'm like, I posted it. And I'm like, you took too long. I'm like, someone else bought it for their wedding. And she was like, Johnny, what? And then she buys another gown for like almost $8,000. And she was like, I'm a serious client. I'm gonna buy this gown. And I was like, I am so sorry, but
I don't think you're that serious. I think you got to buy this $15,000 bracelet now.
And then to this day, it's still, she like, I think for like a year later, she hit me up and she's like, and I was like, it's for her wedding. I'm like, I can't take away her wedding dress. I'm like,
oh, because it was for the other girl's wedding. So he couldn't cancel it because it was for the other.
That felt karmic for her though. That felt like a lesson she had to go through. Yeah.
Wow.
You can't.
And I would be messaging her and be like, I don't feel like you're serious now. I think there's a lot more things that I feel like if you really want to show me, you'll spend $100,000.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't even get a guy to buy me a fucking burger, and you're out here getting like this girl to buy this $8,000 dress.
I mean, hey, the dolls actually, my assistants, they've taught me. You know, we've spoken about this at dinner. I think last time where they're.
Oh yeah,
they ask, and I've learned from them to ask, you know, men for things.
Yeah,
literally, they're like, just ask a guy and be like, send me hot wings, and they get hot wings.
Who is that girl on TikTok where she's like sprinkle, you know, sprinkle girl? She's the one who like encourages women to ask men for money, like by just I feel like I could never do that. I'm so shy.
I got my fur coat last year.
I'm so shy.
I know Johnny's out here like getting coats.
I really want the coat. And he's like, okay.
See, I don't want to puppy nobody.
Huh?
I don't want to puppy nobody. I'm just like, I'm too proud for that, I feel. But I also feel like there comes like inherent privileges that I have already as a cis man, right? Where I might not have to, you know, maybe in a different outfit, I'm not saying like one is better over the other. I'm not saying I'm a better person because I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I just, for my own ego and my own, like, I don't know, my own feeling of being like a man in my own way, it's hard for me to go like, can you pay for something? Because I just literally years ago, I was in my ex-boyfriend's shower and I saw that I was surrounded by all his shit and I had a mini panic attack because I was like, nothing in here is mine. I don't own anything. Yeah. Like, oh hell no. If I ever lived here, would he think that he owns me or some shit?
It's all 4-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body wash. I wouldn't doubt it either.
See, I'm always getting misgendered. So I'm like,
how do you identify?
It depends on the day, honestly. And I think honestly that's how I got into like collecting women's clothing because I'm like, wait, like I wear like women's coats and, you know, women's pieces are just much like they're better made and they're more elaborate, you know? So I'm like, of course this is going to look like better on me and my proportions just fit. So then if you come to the studio, you'll see it's primarily like women's clothing.
What do you prefer in terms of like, maybe for the sake of this interview too, like what do you prefer?
Oh, he, him is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But usually you kind of are like, you are.
I love playing with
the
gender.
Spectrum. Yeah.
Because it's not it's not concrete. It's not something that's solid, I feel. You know, I'm like, clothing doesn't have gender either. You know?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have many. My brain's buzzing.
Yeah.
Any of the pieces, you collect a lot of pieces, right? Do you feel like these items have like a personality, like a spirit to them?
Yes.
Like haunted?
Absolutely.
Really?
Haunted is interesting. And I'll tell you something that I did receive that I had to I had to give it back because I was like, this is too close for comfort. It was a monkey coat, it was a coat made out of monkey fur from the 1930s.
That's crazy.
That my client gave me. And she's like, can you sell it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I have to give this back. Like I posted it on IG when I first received it, and people went a little like. It created a stir, but
it's. I mean, is that that's crazy? That monkeys, like the monkey fur.
I mean, what weren't they doing back then in the 30s?
What kind of monkey?
Colubus.
Don't even know what that is.
Yeah, Colubus monkey from the highlands of I believe like Central Africa. So I went on this like whole spiral. I even wrote a whole article about it for my blog, for the store's blog, and
let me see.
What's
it has like the white face.
Yeah.
Oh, they look like monkey skunks.
Yeah.
Skunk monkeys.
Yeah.
You monster. So what happened?
I had to give it. I had to give it back. I'm like, I can't. Something about this doesn't feel right.
Take a little fucking monkey coat back.
But I was inspired by Bianca Jagger because she wore monkey fur and Schiaparelli, Elsa Schiaparelli in the 30s.
What? That's crazy.
She was the one that popularized monkey fur.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Side note, I also want to know how you both met.
Oh.
When was the first time? And when was the first time that you're like, I like you, I want to be your friend?
Aww.
We met at BuzzFeed.
Yes.
And then we hit it off like almost immediately.
But like how at BuzzFeed?
Well, Art introduced us both.
Yeah, but we knew about each other through our friend Art. But you came in. Did somebody else find you to do a video, or did I bring you in for your first video? Or did I put...
It was so it was what was his name?
Oscar?
Rene?
No.
Yeah, or Steve, I think was his name. He was one of the he did the casting.
Oh, yeah.
So someone approached me because they wanted me to do like these appraisal videos for BuzzFeed. And so I did it, not knowing what I was getting myself into. I went into the studio thinking, I was like, okay, amazing. I'm going to be appraising McQueen and like, Gucci, like vintage. And they give me like, I don't know, like...
Yeah, say it. What?
Lolita Lampic. No, not even. That's actually a good brand.
Delia's?
No. It was something else. It was like
Forever 21?
Yeah, yeah, literally.
Okay, they're like rate my Forever 21, which by the way, early Forever 21, much better than new Forever 21.
I mean, it just wasn't well made, There was, oh my God, I forget. I went crazy on this dress and I wish I remembered the name of it. But anyway, so yeah, I kept on getting callbacks and then I ended up doing a video with Curly.
I think I met you. I think like on the way. You remember like where the studios were on the side, the little ones that we would shoot the little rooms, the little studios. Mm-hmm. I think you were coming out of one, or you were in one, and I was walking in. I was like, oh my God, hey!
Who are you?
But we first met at the Abbey one night.
Oh my God, you're right. It was at the Abbey.
How'd you forget about that?
No.
You tell the best story about that one because.
You arrived with Art and another like Latino friend of yours who used to do PR.
Mike Vargas.
Yeah.
Arturo.
Mike Vargas.
Yeah, Arturo's another
Arturo Wong.
Amazing Latino stylist.
Yeah. So Arturo is a quarter Chinese. He's Chinexican and he grew up in Mexicali. So
he's like 6'4" too.
Beautiful guy.
Human. Yeah.
And we connected years ago when he was a student at FIDM and I was interning at Vivian Westwood. And we hit it off, and then, it's like, it's always been this like brown pride, and then I don't know how you befriended him, but
I thought he was hot.
Oh, fair enough.
Stay with Johnny. I thought he was hot.
And then one night, and then I'm like, we're randomly at the Abbey. I'm I think I wasn't drinking that night, and I remember you telling me, because I remember the details, and I remember you telling me, you were like, this is really like random. You're like, I never go out, and then we literally like held like locked arms and walked all over the Abbey, just like talking and talking and talking.
When we talk about how the people like parted like the sea, and we were like, and we just like found each other, and we just immediately like, and we became like immediate friends that are really like cariñoso with each other, like cuddles, like linking arms, like, and that's not usual for a lot of people, I think, where you're just like, oh, this feels nice, And
then we started FaceTiming.
Like every other day, and then we both are very like cerebral, where like if you let us, and I tell him this all the time, I'm like, oh my God, we're so annoying, because if you let us talk to each other long enough, we'll talk about like truly.
You
just
always say that,
atoms and things, and there needs to be somebody next to us who can like snap us out of it, because otherwise we just won't shut up, and we're like, well, what do you think about the Matrix?
That's
well,
so
cut to
good.
4 hours later, and all of our snacks are gone, and we're just like, what did we talk about today? A lot. Yesterday, he literally ran the phone. He's like, I want to read you this quote that I read. And it was a fucking amazing, blowing my mind, like my like whoosh, like spiritual mind, which I think you might have when we can talk about it later. But like, I was like, I need to work out. Like, how am I talking? It was about man versus the universe, how the universe interacts with man, how the yin and the yang. I woke up at 3 a.m, super congested. I had to pee. I'm sitting there in bed thinking about this fucking page that he read to me over the phone. And I'm like, I want, it's just, we have this brain thing that we're like, Are there any celebrity stories that you can share with us that have been crazy, that you don't have to name drop, but like, you can say like, oh, this one celebrity.
Yeah. This one celebrity, like their archive was ruined by the rain. Remember, like, I think it was last year, like LA had an enormous amount of rain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a call, and I'm just like, I ignored it, because I'm like, what is it? And then I was at my jeweler, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, Jonathan, like, I know it's serious when I call myself my full name. I'm like, Jonathan, just call them back. Like, maybe it's something, that they need. And this person's archive was ruined. And they're like, we need someone to fix all of their pieces. Everything's damaged, etc. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, what could it be?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 dresses, bitch. My studio was full. I don't think you saw it, but it was
I don't think I saw it,
full of racks of like some of the most iconic.
Can you say if they're a
pieces.
singer or actor? Or...
I can't say.
That's crazy.
No, that was insane. And I'm just like, no, everything, every possible. Like, it was.
I remember you working on that. How do you even begin to tackle something like that, though? Like, you just go piece by piece?
No, you have to start like, so I studied organizational theory in school.
I should probably take that.
This is why I'm the proudest of my Virgo moon placement.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Because I love organizing, and it's something that I've relished on since I was a kid. I'm like, I love an organized desk. And straight lines, you know what I mean? And cataloging, and I love it. Anyway, so you start from the core, right? It's like you don't look at the issue, you don't look at the problem at hand, you don't even look at how many components the problem has. It's like you look at the person or people that can support every part, right? So from when I get handed a project like that, I'm like, all right, well, if it's made out of this, if it's made out of that, I need to find the person that does or can do all of these things.
So for clarification, like they need you to fix her archive, like their clothes.
Yeah.
So like, for example, something was like ripped or something.
Yeah.
So would you be the person?
No,
you would find the person.
I have to find the person.
Yeah, because it's like water damage, right? So if you're like working with like blue lamb's leather or something,
you have to find someone that specializes only in leather. You know, if it's sequins or if it's like lace, you have to find someone that knows how to like handle all of these very specific textiles.
I would be so overwhelmed with that. No, I love it. If I get more than 5 text messages at once, I'm like, oh my God, everybody leave me the fuck alone. No. Like, I hate everybody. Like, I just go, no. I just blow up. I cannot. If you filled up my entire home with racks of clothing and you were like, find a way to fix all this water damage, I'd probably have like a big ass anxiety attack.
And it smelled.
So did you do it?
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I hired a couple of people to do it. And yeah, we did it. So
Would it smell like water?
It smelled like
mold, mildew.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, trapo mojado, you know?
Oh no.
And I was like, okay, that's when I get that causes me like
anxiety.
To become overwhelmed. Yeah, like smells like that. Like,
same. Yeah, same. I don't know how you did that.
Well, the payout.
Oh yeah.
The payout was good.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to Maya's Fashion Corner. Dun, dun, dun. Put some
ding,
sparkly
ding.
fashion music on here. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, so I am not very knowledgeable in fashion. I feel like it's due to like I'm plus size and I'm like between 14, 16. And I feel like, this is my question to you, why does the industry suck? I mean, it's getting better at making plus size clothes like Torrid, for example. And I would say like Lane Bryant, like the plus size clothes for like older women or older people, they always have the worst cuts, the worst like just patterns that make you look. I mean, it depends on like how you want to look, but like in your expertise, like why do you think, I mean, does the industry just hate fat people?
I don't think so. I think, we're talking about solutions. I love working with women because it's the moment I get to see a female client look at themselves in the mirror and start checking themselves out, I'm like, oh, my job is complete.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm just a conduit, I can't give you that. I can just help you arrive there, And the one thing I hear from my female clients all the time that really like it upsets me because I'm like, damn, they think their bodies are the problem, And it's like, no, it's because you see this, you see that. And I'm like, no, please, like, if we're going to work together, I need you to dispel that already. I'm like, please, like, you're not the issue here. I'm like, that's why you've brought me on board, or that's why I get to, work with these women, because it's at the end of the day, I mean, there's nothing more personal than what you put on your body, right? But I definitely think there needs to be more accountability in fashion when it comes to being more inclusive with sizing, because I mean, the solution that I've provided for clients, and this is hyper niche, but one of our clients is Ashley Graham, and she needed this. They were looking for something very specific for her, and I think she's also like a size 16, and I'm like, well, I have it, it's like, but it took me we took apart this Vivienne Westwood gown, and I hired someone to cut it,
construct it,
to like cut it and then make it so that it would fit her. And it's a stunning piece. And the only thing is that, I mean, yeah, it took a bit of an investment in that sense. And I think that the industry and, I think they neglect to think that curvier women don't want to wear fashion, and they're relegated to what?
It just hasn't been accessible, I feel like, and it's, a representation thing. Like I saw Ashley Graham and I was like, oh my God, like, yes, somebody who looks like me. And I feel like it's like an accessibility problem, but then I feel like now we've arrived at a place where it is a little bit more accessible. But like, what is your advice for people who want to like elevate their closet, but maybe has that kind of like identity of feeling like their body is the problem? Like, where do they start? Like, if I wanted to go to a store, like, I don't know, like, and also spirituality and like mental wise, like, where do you go? Because I get so overwhelmed and I have like panic attacks. I have like, on clothes.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, there was a period in when I was growing up, where I was little, like when I came to this country, I was fed supplements so that I would gain weight, and I gained too much weight, and that became and I remember my body became an issue when we were shopping for clothes, and I hated it. So I do know the anxiety, and I can relate to the body dysphoria too, I'm like, but I love that you mentioned spirituality in the shopping process. I think it's that when you can get rid of that thought that you are the problem, that does relieve a little bit of the anxiety, and I think it leaves room for curiosity on where to look next, because I feel like when there's fear around shopping, it's paralyzing, and you kind of like don't, you stay in that same position. But I feel like it's impossible to say what type of questions you should be asking, but I feel like being a bit more forceful, and this isn't just with body inclusivity. This also has to do with, for me, the way that I see it, it's also like racial identity. I'm like, no, like I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna find out where I can find these pieces. I know they're not necessarily, they haven't been targeted for my demographic, whatever demographic I consider myself to be, but I'm gonna get it, and I feel like accountability also, there definitely needs to be more people in our industry that pay attention to the needs of curvier people, but this is why I love I see it for men también, like Scott Louis. I think he used to work with Kehlani. He himself, if he has amazing taste, he would. I'm assuming he would be considered also plus size. Wilfred Lenov, who he's a stylist. He's doing Kelly Rowland. He's also in the he just got signed to a male modeling agency to be a representative of curvier men or bigger men. I'm like, yeah, I feel like once we start like etching away at the fears of even speaking about it, we can stay in solution, But it's like, no, and I get it. Like, this is why to me, what transgressed during during 2020, during the May of 2020, when it was like amplify melanated voices, I'm like, yes, like I'll get behind that, because I know that the plight of Black people in this country is the same as mine and everyone else included, and there's so much that is implied in fashion where, because it's such a visible part of you, I feel like but this is where I'm optimistic, because I feel like it can only get better, even like the Victoria's Secret fashion show, which I know a lot of people had their comments on, but we saw Ashley Graham walk in it, Alex Consani walk in it, there's a lot, there's definitely more growth I feel that we need to have, but
I, by the way, saw that show and I was like,
it was a little lackluster.
It's a few
years
too late.
It.
I just saw
don't
clips
watch,
of it. I just
I
just like they're just it's just a little too late. Like I just like they wouldn't have trans models on there for so long. They didn't have women of size, even just like different ages. Like I didn't see any older women on there. Like I could be wrong, but I just was like, whatever. You guys are old anyways.
But basically, I guess the moral of the story is like taking your power back, because I feel like we put fashion and all this stuff on a pedestal of like what we should look like, and it has so much control when it's like, no, we're the one, like there's, guys are literally like designers and creators. So I think that's very empowering to hear. Like it's a great reminder. Like I definitely need to hear that. On that topic, I want you to read, I want you just to read this line.
Okay.
And you can look into that camera if you want.
This one right here?
Yes.
Okay, and read it.
Action.
Okay. It's just that both those belts look exactly the same to me. I'm still learning about this stuff.
This stuff? Oh, okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world you take yourself too seriously about what you put on. To care about what you put. I'm dyslexic. What you put on your back. But what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue. It's not turquoise. It's not lapis. Mm-hmm. It's actually
cerulean.
Wow.
So in this monologue, thank you. Thank you. Yay. So in this monologue by the iconic Miranda from Devil Wears Prada, she talks about how it basically like goes down the line or to like department stores, and where it came from was from designers. Like, do you both see that in traditional fashion now, where it's like, oh, somebody's wearing that, I know where that originated from?
What do you think? I feel like back in the day a little bit more, but I feel like now with the internet, I feel like the culture, I don't know, because I think of like hip hop culture and I think about like what Black and brown people are wearing and queer people are wearing, you know? So it's kind of different, because I always feel like fashion for me starts with the people that grow up in your neighborhood. So like the way that Black and brown people are beautifying is the way that I've always seen as beauty, like baby hair, acrylics, like gold chains, you know, long lashes, lip liner, like all those things are what has informed my idea of beauty. So I don't know what now with the internet, I feel like it's a little bit more of a back and forth, where people can look at like every day, like the kids that are dressing like Brat, you know what I mean? Like that's very early 2000s. I don't know. What would you say?
I also was doing lime green a long time ago. So
yeah. Yeah. Check the records. Check the archives.
Well, Maya, I love what you said about like reclaiming power, because I think that this is exactly where we're at in fashion. Historically, it was haute couture that dictated what you should be wearing, right? And I love, there's this really interesting quip, but like, so Elsa Schiaparelli in the 30s, she designed this haute couture just crop jacket with elephants on it from her circus collection, right? And French people looked down on that because they were like, how could you put something so like pedestrian as a circus motif on haute couture? Like, you know, that was considered shocking back then, right? And so what I think, you know, I look at fashion and I like just historically and sociologically, it's like we're always, you know, I feel like the people that are actually creating and the people that have opinions that do benefit society are always standing on shoulders of giants, right? So now what I see in fashion is it's been turned on its head, you know, where it's like couture doesn't dictate what you should wear, you know. It's like you said, it's the streets, it's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
But there is a shift also, you know, and there's something that we have now that's been, I think, an immense tool for growth and for the expansion of knowledge, and it's social media. It's become this double-edged sword, you know, which I was just talking about this in an interview where you know, the pandemic forced everyone to shut down, and we had a lot of time to look at our you know, whatever processes we analyzed, and for me, fashion was one, right? I'm like, oh my God, I just like deep dove into everything that I found interesting. And that allowed people to, you know, not only form their own style, but, you know, it gave rise to all of these micro trends, right? That now paradoxically, the micro trends have fallen off, you know? And I see, again, this, like, there was this moment where, you know, one of my favorite collections from Chanel is the fall-winter 1990-1991, the hip-hop collection. So you see all of these women wearing the big chains, the leather caps, the big motor. Like, it was gorgeous, but you clearly see where Carl drew all of his inspiration from, right?
Yeah.
there's no one that looked like us on that runway. You know what I mean? So now I feel like it's almost like it's my duty. Because I'm now like the gatekeeper to all of these pieces that I've purchased with my hard-earned money, that I get to decide who gets to wear it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
did you hear that?
Yeah.
We've got a gatekeeper over here.
Because for Cardi B's 31st birthday, which coincided with the 31st anniversary of the release of Chanel's hip hop collection, I gave her the hip hop belt.
You gave it to her?
For her to wear for her birthday.
Oh, okay. But she sent it back.
Well, yeah, she wore it that day.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, it's a good photo.
And it was like that. No, I'm like, the girls that are doing it right now, like that's why I love that you mentioned Lil Kim in the beginning. Her, Foxy, you know, like Alejandra Guzman, they were all wearing Westwood in the night, like Lil Kim and, like, you know, they were all wearing Dior.
Yeah.
But Alejandra Guzman, I'm sorry. I get very passionate about this because I'm like,
I was going to say that I think that Vogue and all these big high fashion magazines, I think that they need to have a hip hop issue and honor like all these people that put these designers and fashion houses on the radar for people of color, because I actually think that has kept their doors open in a lot of ways, because we still see it as, wow, that's like something that's so out of reach for us. Like I think communities of color are looking at it like, and I think that it's because of that it has still held on to like its lujo, like it's, you know. So I'm like, I'm waiting for Lil Kim's issue. That's her everything Versace, like, you know. And now for the zodiac section. Woo!
Welcome to the astrology portion. We talked a little bit before. You said your rising is Leo, your sun is Scorpio. Happy Scorpio season.
Thanks.
And your moon is in Virgo, right?
Yes.
So hearing that and then kind of talking to you, I can totally see that 100%. Because I feel like you're rising, a lot of the like Leo risings I come across, they show up with a fire. They show up with like a lot of confidence in that, and very like stylish too. Like they don't play about their style at all. And then your sun being a Scorpio, that's like your foundation. There's like, it's very like macabre in a way, but like the super stylish, like I see it. And then your moon being Virgo, like
I know,
I get why you guys are like besties. I totally understand.
So do you like your Virgo side more or your Scorpio side more?
I think
which side makes the most sense to you?
It's so interesting because every time I tell someone like my 3 placements, my 3 big ones, they're like, the reaction that I get normally from people when I tell them that I'm a Scorpio is like, ooh, you know? But I have to say that I like them equally. I feel like they're very organized. All of them are they work hand in hand together. Not one of them are like against each other. Like I think the Leo's like, you got it, okay, you go for it. Okay, you got it, okay, yeah, you go for it. Do you feel like with a Virgo moon, like emotion wise, are you organized with your emotions? Like there's a time and place to cry, or do you kind of feel some type of way when somebody like randomly cries? You're so funny.
Literally looks at you and I'm like, tell them.
Because when I was growing my business, when I was in like hyper productivity mode, I would literally schedule my cries.
That's a Virgo moon, 100%. Whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, you schedule your cries.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for you to be emotional because. I mean, emotions for us all take on our entire bodies and spirits. And, you know, if you already have a lot of shit to do, like I understand you need to schedule that in. My moon is in Aries, my sun's in Aries, and I'm a rising Pisces.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just like, whenever it happens. And I have no control over it, which is my like, you know, Achilles heel sometimes.
Okay.
But I need a little bit of the Virgo moon aspect to it. And yours is in Scorpio. So with your emotions. I feel
more like Scorpio, to be honest. Like if you were to go, what makes more sense to you? Like your Virgo side, your Scorpio side. I feel like my Scorpio, like I am deep in emotion all the time. Like I'm always in tune with what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling and what it feels like in my body and my mind.
Which makes sense why you maybe both of you need somebody to bring you out of it, because once you're Scorpios and the Virgo part of you kind of, and you're kind of a little cuspy with Leo. Like that makes a lot of that makes a lot of sense why you guys are almost like actually mirroring each other sometimes and connect in that like one brain way. Are there any signs that you like don't get along with? Just that you've noticed that you're just
Geminis.
I love Gemini.
Yeah, Geminis. My mom's a Gemini and she's been the toughest person I think in my life. I love her so much, but
I wonder if Gemini is your Chiron then, because that's like kind of the sign that is in your chart. Chiron's like, this is going to be an issue for you whenever these signs come across. Like they're gonna kind of not rub you the wrong way, but just kind of like, I don't know, there's an itch that it's not scratched.
Interesting.
One of those.
I'll ask Priscilla. She sometimes reads my chart.
Oh my God.
And that concludes the zodiac portion.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure. It's so funny because I feel like whenever I talk about you, it's hard for me to not answer the questions for you.
Yeah.
He studied bugs and then he did this and he actually speaks French and Chinese and blah, 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 like all these different things that I want to like, or Mandarin.
We have to definitely have you on again.
Okay.
We need a part 2 because there's a lot of things.
So much fun.
Everyone can find me on Pechuga Vintage across the board. That's and do I want to shout out anything? I'm making pillows, so look out for those.
Yay!
I love pillows.
Pechuga cushions.
Where were we at the cemetery? And I was never mind. This is Maya, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Maya in the Moment, MAYA in the Moment, anywhere you scroll. What about you?
You can find me at The Curly V Show on Instagram and TikTok, or wherever you want.
And thank you. Or whatever you want. Thank you again to Pechuga for coming on the podcast.
Yay.
And thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Super Secret Bestie Club podcast. We love you. Bye.
你的眼睛好漂亮.
Oh.
Wow.
Whoa.
That means Maya, you're the prettiest girl I've seen.
Wow.
Oh my God. Wait, that's a big compliment because we were just talking about. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to hear more episodes every single week. The Super Secret Bestie Club podcast is a production of Sonoro in partnership with iHeartRadio's My Cultura podcast network.
For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.